A Court of Fairies and Fiction. Akafaf Girls Podcast. Hosts Mel Liv and Aka. A bookish theory and discussion podcast for the Akatar, Crescent City, and Tug series, as well as other romantasy books. Season 3, Episode 3, A Form So Frozen and Fervid.
All right, we're back. Look who's back! Both of them! I got both of them tonight! It's a miracle! From Word! Anyway, Olivia, do you want to kind of very lightly explain what's been happening?
Yeah. So as a lot of people know, and Melanie has kind of updated the page and everything, I've been having some ongoing health issues, yada yada yada. Unfortunately, it's been taking forever to get in to see people. So I don't have any answers as of right now, but I'm doing a little bit better. And so I'm able to kind of get up and move around and stuff like that. And hopefully I'll have some more answers in the next upcoming months. So I'm doing okay.
We hope so.
We hope. I know. Yeah. But I'm happy to be back with you guys. I want to talk about Akatar. That's all I want to do.
I know. It's been so fun having guests, but then I was like, where's Olivia? I need her hot takes.
I know, because you and Eka, I know you guys are doing the group filmings, and you guys all, you have similar opinions, but man, we need some.
Oh my God, I was telling Teresa, I'm like, the minute we get you and Olivia on a freaking podcast together, I think me and Eka might be in trouble.
Nah, I'll be sitting there eating popcorn watch this.
Fine, then you can be the popcorn lady and I'll have Candy help me.
I know, we'll have to add Teresa on the next one.
It was kind of funny because it was me and Candy and Teresa, and I think maybe Kay one night, and we were just slamming Cassian, and Teresa was getting so pissed at us. And she was like, you're ganging up on me. I was like, I swear we're not. We're just ganging up on the character.
You should did you tell her that you, me, and Eka have had some hot conversations about Cassie?
Yeah. I was like, oh, you agree with Olivia. The minute we get you guys on a pod together, I think I'm in trouble. But yeah, me and Teresa mostly talk about Illusion because she's a huge Illusion fan. She wants Illusion's book next. So that's always really fun. But I was telling the girls that I started a series on my Instagram called Midnight's Mayhem with Mel, and TikTok, technically. And it's basically just whatever crazy thought I have in mind that night. I might do one a week. Not every night, obviously, but one a week, I'm thinking. I have about 4 ideas so far. And I think they're really fun. But I did my first one tonight, and I wanted your thoughts on it. And I was basically saying that, you know how we're told the slave crowns in Crescent City are the crown of thorns, what Hunt has. So in Akafas, I think the last time we filmed, we talked about this, but Feyre makes Rhys change the eyes on the palms of her hands, remember? And we were like, oh, was there 2 or was there 1? There was 2. She made, him change them. So I said that a lot of people forget that Ianthe had a crown tattoo, a forehead tattoo. It was the phases of the moon because she's a high priestess. But then we find out in Akawar that Branna and Dagnan are calling her their pawn, and oh, she's been ours for however many years, and a long time. So I was thinking that Hybern and the twins and Amarantha and even Rhys are Valgar Asteri. I'm wondering if that tattoo was actually the crown of thorns And they put her in the position to be high priestess in order to manipulate the courts. And they changed it to a priestess symbol.
I would say so.
Yeah, I can go first. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because I was like, what was the significance of us seeing that Rhys can change the tattoo? Like, there had to be some sort of significance other than, oh, I want you to change them into the mountains. I was like, all right, but what's the significance of this? And then I was like, who else had a tattoo that could have been changed? Ianthe, the only other person.
So wait a minute. The Night Court, as far as we know, is the only court that does bargains with tattoos.
That's why I think that the Illyrian tattoos are slave tattoos for Rhys.
Oh, I would say so.
But I think the slave marks and bargain marks are different. I think they present similarly, but I think that they're different. So we have the Night Court making bargains with tattoos, which I mean, because of Rhys, I think this probably stemmed from the Valg and the Asteri tactics. Makes sense if he's from the Valg line. And then we have just the Asteri and the Valg in general using the tattoos for slaves.
I mean, Amarantha was inspired to do Under the Mountain, the decor for Under the Mountain. Look for nightmares.
Yep, exactly. But that's what she said. But she lied, though, because then Eris tells us, oh, all the sister peaks were already carved out. So he knew. So she lied to Feyre, or Rhys lied to Feyre about that.
Rhys lied to Feyre.
Rhys lied to Feyre about that. Why?
Wait, what? How exactly did he word it again when he was telling her that?
Oh, he says like, oh, and Under the Mountain was carved to be a replica of the Court of Nightmares. Why?
He had taken Erica to Hewn City. Like, yeah. Why would you take that bitch there?
Yeah. That's a good question, Eka.
Because he knew she was gonna kill half of them, which she did. And then he was like, of course I mourned for my people. No, the fuck you didn't. No, the fuck you didn't. You hate Hewn City. Why would you mourn for them? Are you kidding? You're kidding. You did not mourn for them, Rhys.
Okay, but does anyone else also kind of question why we hate Hewn City so much when like we don't even know what they do? That's so bad. Am I crazy?
No, even looks like we just seen the inside of the Court of Nightmares. We haven't seen like Hewn City, like
all of it. Yeah,
like we haven't been to any shops. Let's go shopping.
We've been to the throne room and like the creepy trove that wants to kill you room. That's it.
And the creepy mirror room.
Mirror room. Yeah.
Oh, and then was it like the dogs or the beasts at the bottom of the pit?
The pit, the dungeon.
The dungeon.
Azriel's dungeon.
Az's dungeon in Hewn City?
Dungeon.
I didn't realize that Az had a dungeon in Hewn City.
It says in Crescent City when they take Bryce there, like, it says something like, oh, taken to like Azriel's cells or something like that. Or where yeah, there's like, it wasn't exactly that, but it was worded where it's like, oh, Azriel does his work here. So I was like, Az.
Like Rhysien just sounds like a mafia boss.
He is.
He does.
He is. He's a charmer. He makes everyone think that he's a good man on the outside, good man on the outside, good family man. And then he's just like, boom, dead. Boom, dead. I don't like you. I'm not getting my hands dirty. She'll kill you. Boom, dead. And then he just got really mad at the Illyrians for bowing to her the same way that he did, and then he killed them personally.
Kitty!
With Cassian Cassian helped him kill them.
I thought they all did. I thought Az was there.
He said, me and Cassian went to the Illyrian camps, and I was like, Azrael doesn't go there because he hates them, unless he absolutely has to. The only time he went there was, like, before the war.
What are you doing?
Cassian. Oh, no. I had to bring up this point. I had a argument on Threads today. And when I tell you, this made me laugh so much because you know who it was with?
Who?
A Cassian roleplay account.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
Oh no.
Oh, yes. Yes, it was. Okay, I took screenshots because obviously the girl or whatever behind it blocked me. But it was so fucking funny. Okay, hold on. Where is it? Oh my God. And it's so ridiculous because it's not like I was even rude. I was just saying facts from the books. And I posted them earlier. It was so funny. But it kind of had to do with your point, sort of. So, a roleplay Reese wrote something, and I replied, and then Cassian jumped in, which is so on point.
I mean, you gotta hand it to him. It's staying in character.
Yeah, I agree with Eka.
I'm like, what? But he wasn't tagged or anything.
No.
He just appeared.
Yeah, like I
to
said.
defend his High Lord. Anyway, the most handsome High Lord said, as June approaches, I'd like to make it clear that anyone of any sexuality and gender identity belongs in Valaris. And then I put, just as long as they aren't Illyrian or from Hewn City, right? Because those people are banned by you. Funny that. Not homophobic, just racist. And then I put, P.S. There's also a reason that Moore won't tell you she's bi. Food for thought.
Just stir in the pot, Melanie. Just stir in the pot.
And then he made some, like, your mom comment, like Cassian does or whatever, and then he wrote something else. And then I just put, or he said something about, like, oh, but that's not sexuality or whatever. And then I just put, in Akawar, Reese tells the governors of Valaris not to allow anyone to serve Hewn City people because Moore was mad about the deal. And then he put, that has nothing to do with sexuality, her sexuality. And then I put, it's about the false generosity. Sexuality doesn't matter when it solely depends on race first. So if a gay person from Hewn City wanted to go into Valaris, they'd still be denied, making the general statement false. And then he put, but that's not on the basis of their sexuality. That applies to everyone. And then I said, but he said anyone of any sexuality is welcome in Valaris. But if you are gay in Illyrian or gay in Hunian, you are still not allowed in Valaris. So the statement is inherently false. It isn't anyone, only the people the IC like. Hence my point. It isn't inclusive either way, because it's then putting racism over homophobia, which is still a weird flex. And then it's so funny. And then he, whatever, put it's not racist because Valaris is literally warded against anyone seeing it that's not in the inner circle. The Hewn City is sexist and does not stand for the values Reese and the inner circle have. That's why they're banned. It literally has nothing to do with their race. And then I put, how would you even know that since you speak to them like dogs and not people and threaten them constantly? You really think Moore is the only dreamer there? What about the kids who never see sunlight? Why are they banned from Valaris? And it is about race because you do the same to the Illyrians, where only you and Azrael are the exception, just like only Moore is the exception for Hunians. And then he put about the Valaris thing. He said, the Illyrians aren't banned either. Reese himself is an Illyrian. Illyrians just don't go because the men are controlling. This sounds like a you problem, not a logical argument. Or a you problem with Reese, not a logical argument. I said not everything is about Reese. Valaris is warded in a bubble. Did you forget? Illyrians can't even find it if they wanted to, hence banned. And then he put, girl, nobody could find it if they wanted to. And then I just put, unless the inner circle allows them access. Hence my point. You would never let Unions or Illyrians in voluntarily. And then he blocked me. Logic. Come on. People don't like logic. And then he unblocked me to argue again, saying that I was the problem. And then I was just like, you hopped on my post first when nobody called for you.
Oh, they did? They answered your post first? I didn't know that was how it started.
Yeah, I replied to Reese, and then Cassian just showed the fuck up to defend his High Lord. Like usual.
I love it.
But, like, what the hell? Come on.
Dang, man. It's getting serious.
People are mad. But, like, seriously. Velaris is in a bubble. Nobody's getting in. That's just a fact. Like, oh, anyone's can be accepted in. No, they can't. No, they can't. You have proved this. On page. Like, it's wild. Someone said something earlier. And I'm gonna see if I can find the comment. I might have screenshotted it. I hope I screenshotted it. Oh. Fuck, you haven't read all of TOG.
Oh, so I need to
I know.
I was gonna say, should I cover my ears?
This
but
is one.
no.
No, it's not really a spoiler. We know that Aelin is powerful, so whatever.
Okay.
But I was reading over some parts of TOG and, seeing what I didn't highlight and everything. And it says, now tell me what you think this reminds you of. 3 months, Rowan breathed. The others stilled. 3 months, he said again, his knees wobbling. She's been making the descent into her power for 3 months. Every day she had been with Maeve, she had gone deeper, and she had not tapped too far into that power since they freed her because she had kept making the plunge to gather up the full might of her magic. A few weeks of descent had taken her powers to devastating levels, but 3 months of it, holy gods. She made the freaking drop! but, like, kept going. How is that even possible? Well, actually, in Crescent City, they're, like, not as powerful, so, like, I guess it kills them if they don't come back. But she did it for 3 months? Bryce did it for, what, 5 minutes and almost died? Holy crap.
Wait, so Eka and Melanie, explain this to me. So she like, where is she doing the drop? Or is it just like in her body? I'm confused.
Yeah, it's like in her body. It was in her body because Maeve had her trapped in the coffin.
So she's just like mentally making the drop in the coffin?
Mm-hmm. Like rallying her strength and dipping into her reserves. And then Rowan is like, oh, she thought she reached like the bottom of the well of power. And then there was another well of power underneath it. And she kept going.
I mean, there's a reason why she said, I'm a god.
Mm-hmm. So, this is why I said Nesta has not made the drop yet. Because she shoved fistfuls of eternity into her veins in the cauldron. There is no way that the silver flames is just her power. Aelin had regular flames at first, too.
Did Aelin get silver flames?
No, but when
she had star flames, like sun flames.
Like blue, like bright blue.
Oh my god. Oh, I got it for TOG.
was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, when Nesta makes the drop, she's going to get her star. She's going to delve into that well of power. You have to be so broken, but so willful to do that. And I'm like, oh, we saw her broken, but we didn't. She hasn't been that broken. And the fact that Amber, again, I will keep going back to this, but the fact that Amber's like, when you explode, make sure it's felt across worlds. Mm, 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 mm. You know what I'm gonna say, so I'm not gonna say it, but that'll make her explode.
I still will be shocked if she goes with that. I don't know why.
I hope not. I want him to have his happy ending, just maybe not with Nesta.
Not with Nesta, yeah. Yeah, I would rather him be with Tanwyn. I would love for him to be the one to realize that they're under there and to go and save her the way that he couldn't the first time. Could you imagine? I would love that. Like, okay, think about this, right? We know that he's kind of dodgy with Nesta and he still kind of longs for more, but he was really poetic about Tanwyn, as we've discussed. So, what do you think, like, his initial reaction would be if he, like, was told or got word or somehow saw, maybe through Elaine, that she was actually alive and trapped under there, like Amarantha trapped the High Lord?
He would fall to his knees.
And then he would just go. He would just go.
Kneecaps.
Oh my God. I want to see him fucking clawing at that mountain to try to save her.
Yes.
That would be an epic fucking Cassian.
Feral Cassian.
Feral Cassian. Yeah.
But my only problem is like Nesta would get hurt in this whole debacle. She would be like heartbroken because it even says that she loves Cassian. Yep. You know what I mean?
But
so she would.
But after Hofas, is it really love or is it more need/infatuation?
I mean, they weren't in.
Like, I know that she says, "Oh, I love you," and she cares about him and stuff, but like, they're not romantic. No, it's sad.
It's really lusty.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's just.
And like, you have to remember that, like, similar to Feyre, like, Nesta doesn't know what love is. She's never had anyone before. Cassian only does because of Tanwyn, and he doesn't treat Nesta like that. It's weird. It's so weird. I just don't like it.
I mean, unless she's trying to like demonstrate different types of mating bonds, but you know what I mean? No.
Nah.
Okay, because mating bonds in general make your mate like thoroughly protective, and like we never see that with him.
It kills me that like I agree with you guys. It hurts me.
Okay, put it this way. Lucian was getting pissy when Elaine wasn't allowed outside.
So was Rhys.
Wait. Yes, Rhys too. But Rhys was murderously feral when someone called Feyre a whore. It was Kier, wasn't it? Like he broke his arm or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Cassian isn't doing anything when Rhys is like, we should have her, like when the inner circle is like, we should have her
executed.
Yes, thank you.
And when Devlon basically alluded to the fact that she was like a high fae whore and all this shit and a witch, And Cassian's
And
just like,
that's
murder, I don't know what to do.
for Cassian, Lord of Bloodshed, okay? Like, Lord of
Literally.
Bloodshed.
Lord of
Snap!
Bloodshed.
And he didn't snap. He's just like, dirt, okay. And it's like, dude.
I was like, dude, do something.
Sweet
Okay,
boy. Sweet boy. Sweet Cassian. Please. You are so loyal. Why are you not doing this for
What is
your
happening? But when
Okay, but-
Eris threatens more, he's like, oh, don't talk to her like that. And then obviously Az like attacked him. But like, oh, she's my sister and I love her. Oh, Cassian, you're capable of saying those 3 words, but you are not. But you're choosing not to. You love more? Really? Really?
Maybe he has more healing to do. I mean, Lord knows Nesta still does, but like maybe he has more healing to do too. I don't know. I think he does because he keeps stepping in for Reese and kissing his butt.
He's gonna continue to kiss his ass.
I would love to see Cassian's like character arc not being done yet and like him going through a lot of healing and just like transformation to be Nesta's equal. I think that would be amazing to see that.
That would be fine.
If
but he would have to stand up to Reese.
I don't know if their powers would.
That was my other point. They're not, though. They're not equals, like in power.
Well, some people would maybe argue that like he's like Echo is saying the Lord of Bloodshed and he's incredibly strong, you know, like Tamlin was. And he commands an army. So, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Fistfuls of eternity. That is not the same as good at war. Good with a sword. Like magical ability. He has none. Not like literally he has none. He has the Illyrian killing power, and then he's like, that's it. I'm just a bastard. That's all I got. I got nothing. I am not special like Reese and Az. So like even in terms of like danger with the IC, well, going with the theory that we don't think Amryn really lost her powers, he's the weakest link in the IC. Have you ever realized that? I did a really weird theory board, well, crack theory board. And I think I mentioned this before, but I didn't have like all of the quotes. So I just put crack theory. Was Mama Archeron Ansel's friend Maddie? Was Maddie a secret witchling? I said, was Grandmamma the witch that stole her and fled the Tog world with her? Why would the old wretch insist on being called Grandmamma if she was already their grandmother? And then I said, as an aside, did Papa A know the history and how? Because he knew about word marks, having hope, and about needing a better world. Remember how he's like, you have to have hope or we can't endure. Let Nesta think of a better world, right? Right? These are the little snippets that I had. This is Ansel. She said, her sister and her friend Maddie, it says, they had gone under the archway of the tower and seen an open door leading to its interior, but an old woman with metal teeth was standing in the shadows, and she grabbed Maddie and dragged her into the stairwell. Maddie began screaming, and my sister ran. And when she told my father and his men, they raced for the tor. They arrived there, but there was no trace of Maddie or the old woman. And then she goes, oh, I'll tell you a valuable secret. The only way to kill a witch is to cut off her head. Mama Archeron and Grandmamma Archeron's heads were not cut off. Just so you know. And then I just, did the scene of the grandmother being awful to Nesta, and then this is Papa Archeron. We need hope as much as we need bread and meat. He interrupted, his eyes clear for a rare moment. We need hope or else we cannot endure. So let her keep this hope, Feyre. Let her imagine a better life, a better world. Now this is Manon with her 13. When she was fighting with Sorrel, I think it was. Yeah, Sorrel. Manon forced herself to lift her chin. We do not wish, we do not hope, she said to her soon-to-be second. Because she was going to, like, kill Astrid. And then, to a better world, Mala said, and walked through the doorway into her own. A better world, a world with no gods, no masters of fate, a world of freedom.
What?
How? Papa Archeron. What the hell did he know? And was his wife from the Tog world? Was the wife Maddie? Was the grandmother the witch and the wife Maddie?
But that makes so much sense, right? Because, like, weren't we talking about how the whole iron bed thing?
Yes, the ironwood bed.
Or so, right? Like, we were talking about how odd that was, that, like, the mom was insistent on having that bed made for the girls.
Well, actually, no.
It was
Papa Archeron had it made for her for their honeymoon, or like as a wedding gift.
Yeah.
Was it to protect her from her mother when she gave birth? Because she gave birth in that bed.
But didn't they say
it was so that no fairies could steal the children that they would have? It was a form of protection.
Mm-hmm. And then he had the word marks drawn outside the door. But the grandmother is so matron Blackbeak coded.
But they said that there was a pile of cleaned off bones where Maddie was.
Yeah. But that was like 5 minutes later. There's no way. It was another kid's bones. Mm-hmm. Because then it says, see, there was this archway that went through the bottom of the watchtower, so you could see through it to the other side of the hill. And one of the stable boys told my sister that if you looked through the archway on the night of the summer solstice, then you might see into another world. That's Ansel's story.
Summer solstice. Elaine. You can see through another world. Elaine. Summer solstice.
And there was holes in the wall near Tamlin's court where Feyre celebrated summer solstice.
Wait, so you guys think the holes in the wall were made from someone by Tog?
Actually, there's a theory going around that it was Lucian, because Lucian had to spell cleave the wall to send the sentries through.
Maybe it was Cassian.
But remember, Henry felt that it was Tamlin who did it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like, the spell cleaving thing is good, though, because then it would lead to the fact that Lucian always knew that Helion was his father. Or that Tamlin also knew because he sent Lucian to cleave the wall for the sentries. But anyway, so that was Ansel during Assassin's Blade. And then Nesta during the Blood Rite says, the breaking flowed through an archway of black stone where the path became broader and easier, the pass of Annalius. Nesta tumbled down, collided with someone hard. No, not someone. Though she could have sworn she felt warmth and breath, she hit the archway of stone. They'd fallen all the way back down to the pass of Annalius, dangerously close to the males who pursued them. Later on, it says, Nesta stood under the pass of Annalius for a long minute. She took out her canteen, drank the last of the water, and chucked it to the side. She tucked the dagger into her belt, picked up the sword, and drew a line in the dirt in front of the archway. So what immediately went through my head when I read this was that was Nesta protecting Crescent City before she actually protected Crescent City.
Yeah.
How so?
Because the archway and the monolith, that's why Annalius drew a line in the sand. That's why he died defending it. Because if you get to it, you can go through to other worlds. Or the Veld can, because they're world walkers. Asteri, because they're world walkers. So I'm like, she drew the line. Because then it says, and I don't have this one, but I was reading it. Because then Bellius shows up, and remember how he was like, oh, you drew a line in the sand. Nice touch. Annalius did that. And then Nesta's like, She didn't even know that. Nobody told her that. She didn't even know.
Wait a minute. Whoa. What if Nesta is the reincarnation of Annalius? Not Azriel, not Cassian. Nesta.
I actually love that.
Because that would explain why her and Cassian have some kind of bond.
Yes.
And Azriel, because he has the daggers.
Yeah.
Chemistry. Yes. Oh my God, how did you guys come up with that?
Well, I'm just thinking, like, in terms of reincarnation, would they reincarnate into, like, the same type of body, or would it just go to anybody?
I think it goes to anybody, doesn't? I mean, like, I don't know.
It goes to anybody.
Could be. But I was like, that's an interesting touch. So she's defending the world before she defended the world.
That's very interesting that you caught that.
And
no one told her.
And what if, I'm just trying to think. So if the archway is like the northern rift, what is the southern rift? Would it have been the wall? Or is there an archway in spring that we haven't been introduced to yet?
Or it's the pool. Or the southern rift is the pool.
It could be.
Starlight.
I wonder, is there anything in Kingdom of Ash or like TOG that alludes to like water ever being a portal? I don't know.
It's complicated.
It sounds like there's a connection. Is it in Kingdom of Ash, Eka?
I think so.
It is. Okay.
It's like around the same area location where Aelin looks for the wedding rings.
Okay.
I think.
Does it, like, do you already know what the Starlight Pool is?
Only in theory. Not
in theory.
I just saw something else while I was looking for that. And this is when the music is sent to Feyre in her cell. Because it says, like, the music built a path and a scent founded upon archways of color. This is her connection to some sort of magic. And I don't just think it's the mating bond, because the way it's described is weird. It says, I followed it, walking out of that cell through layers of earth, up, 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 into fields of cornflowers, past a canopy of trees, and into the open expanse of sky. The pulse of the music was like hands that gently pushed me onward, pulling me higher, guiding me through the clouds. I never saw clouds like these. In their puffy sides, I could discern faces, fair and sorrowful. They faded before I could view them too clearly, and I looked into the distance to where the music summoned me. It was either a sunset or sunrise. The sun filled the clouds with magenta and purple, and its orange gold rays blended with my path to form a band of shimmering metal. I wanted to fade into it, wanted the light of that sun to burn me away, to fill me with such joy that I would become a ray of sunshine myself. This wasn't music to dance to. It was music to worship, music to fill in the gaps of my soul, to bring me to a place where there was no pain.
No. You know what that sounds like?
Like when Nesta was summoned to the harp?
Day court.
It does sound like the day court.
But that also sounds like dusk. That sounds like the dusk court, too. The magenta and purple and orange gold rays. Sunset or sunrise. Sunset is dusk. And she didn't have magic yet. So
I mean,
unless it's just like, oh, Reese is part of the dusk court, so the music is centered to the dusk imagery. I was like,
no, it really does sound like day. Like Hellion. And Hellion
what do you think the metal was?
Well, here's the thing. Hellion is connected to the Dread Trove.
Yeah.
So maybe she was connected to the Dread Trove in some way.
Yeah.
as a
See, these are the things that I wish Sarah J. Maas would explain. Like, what did that mean when she was human? Because I don't think anybody remembers. I don't think anybody remembers that shit from book 1. Like, I didn't realize I was weeping until the wet warmth of a tear splashed upon my arm, but even then I clung to the music, gripping it like a ledge that kept me from falling. So was she in the cauldron right now? Hadn't realized how badly I didn't want to tumble into that deep dark. How much I wanted to stay here among the clouds and light and color. Reese! Reese was trying to lure her into the dark. She fell for it eventually. I let the sounds ravage me, let them lay me flat and run over my body with their drums. Up and up, building to a palace in the sky. Oh, now it says a hall of alabaster in Moonstone. Okay, it's Moonstone Palace. Ah! But then it's like, it says, everything I wanted was there. The one I loved was there. The music was Tamlin's fingers strumming my body. It was the gold in his eyes and the twist of his smile. At Moonstone Palace? Odd.
So did Reese put Tamlin there to like make Feyre happy because he knew that she loved him?
I have no idea. What? I have no idea. But before that, it says, like, when it first came into her cell.
What if it's a premonition?
Well, listen to this. It says, I looked toward the small vent in the corner of the ceiling through which the music entered my cell. The source must have been far away, for it was just a faint stirring of notes, but when I closed my eyes, I could hear it more clearly. I could see it, as if it were a grand painting, a living mural. The mural! So, if Reese is sending her this, then the mural in the spring court has to be Lauren.
100%. I will stand by that.
I will stand by. Because why is it mentioned again in ACOWAR when she's connected to the cauldron? Why? I once saw a mural like this back in the spring court. Why are you mentioning the mural all the way in ACOWAR? Why? Why? I want them to get closure so bad. I want them to get closure. I just want her to come back with Rune and be like, this is your son.
Well, you guys have seen Henry's Instagram lately, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tips from Tamlin.
Do you guys think he's recording at all?
100%. 100%.
Really?
She was done with that book last summer. I mean, I guess it depends on how long, Bloomsbury takes to like edit and shit. But, well, even not editing, because editing is kind of separate from like actual publishing. But she could have sent them the finished manuscript to like get on with it.
Oh my gosh. If Tamlin gets like his healing arc, I'm gonna be so thrilled.
But watch it be like nothing we want. I would be really depressed.
I'll be
like, if he doesn't get a mate, I'm actually gonna be really pissed off.
Oh yeah.
I don't care who, as long as like he falls in love and like they're a really good match.
Yeah.
I would be devastated, honestly. Like actually devastated.
Yeah, I'll be blowing up your guys' phones. Like, what are we reading now?
What the fuck is this shit?
Have you guys what's that movie where Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence are in it? And he's like reading the book.
Oh yeah. No.
Silver Linings Playbook, is that what you said? And he takes it, he's like, what is this? What the? And like throws it. That's gonna be
out the window.
Yeah.
I just did like 2 like little small like theory boards. So the first one is I am as vast and eternal as the sea. Erewhon and his brothers sought me for my power. This is obviously Maeve. Her magic flowed around her in an unholy aura. You believe yourself to be a god killer, Aelin Galathinius. What were they but vain creatures locked into this world? What were they but things your human mind cannot comprehend? She lifted her arms. I am a god. And then skip to Crescent City 2. Bryce squeezed shaking hands into fists. Why? Why do any of this? Why do you drink water and eat food? We are higher beings. We are gods. Rigelus said. You cannot blame us if our source of nutrition is inconvenient for you. We keep you healthy and happy and allow you to roam free on this planet. We have even let the humans live all this time just to give you Vanir someone to rule over. In exchange, all we ask is a little of your power. Your parasites. They're the same! They're the same! I want to know where Orcus and Mantix are. Because everyone suddenly on TikTok is realizing that we haven't seen them again, even though we've been screaming about this for 2 years. Where are they? And then the second one, which I figured out last night, was remember how Bryce was looking at the board of all the planets that were conquered? She says one planet in the habitable zone had been pinned and labeled Renthar, conquered AE 14,000. AE, she didn't know that dating system, but she could guess what conquered meant. Conquered by the Asteri. So I looked up what AE means in the Bible. And it means I am that I am, or I will be who I will be. So AE literally is just how old the Asteri are. Like how old they were when they conquered each planet.
Is it really? Wow.
Because they're 15,000 years old, right?
Right.
So Renthar, 14,000 was the last one, which makes sense, right? They're still world hopping. Octardus came back with a totally different body in Crescent City 3. Just saying. So if it's been, 10,000 years, then that goes with the timeline.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bryce is like, oh, they came here 15,000 years ago, but 15,000 years ago was just the crossing of like the Tog and the Crescent and the Prithian people to Midgard. But that's not to say that other Asteri couldn't have been conquering other worlds at that time, and then they all came to Midgard and they made their thing. Because remember when they were talking about bringing the Tog people there, Rigelus was like, oh, I got the Tog people to like trust me, and then I brought them through the portal. So they were working all different planets at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was like, AE is just their age. Why do I feel so ridiculous that I never looked that up before? The declaration highlights God's eternal existence and self-sufficiency. The term AE is a shortened form often used to represent the concept of being or existence, particularly in a theological context. I felt so smart. Felt so smart. I was like, duh, it's just their age. Because they had worlds they conquered when they were like 400, worlds they conquered when they were like 800, like 14,000. That was their age. I still want to know what Aphraxia is. Is Aphraxia the Tog world?
That's what I was going to say. Is Renthar Akatar then?
Maybe. Oh, no, because they conquered it. Akatar kicked them out.
That's right.
But did they conquer the Tog world? I think they did, because they brought all the shifters and shit. Because they said only 3 planets were able to successfully kick them out, which was Hell, Prithian, and Aphraxia. And Bryce was like, I don't know what Aphraxia is. But then Rigelus is like, I got all of the shifters planet to trust me, and I brought them through the portal. So I'm like, if you're bringing all of them through the portal, then you blew up that world, right? Like, they didn't kick you out because you took hostages. So what's Aphraxia? What if she isn't doing Twilight of the Gods and she has to do the Aphraxia series first? Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
I would love it though. I think it would be great.
Because we have Tog, we have Akatar, we have Crescent City who connects them. And then, there's one planet that we haven't seen that also kicked out the Asteri beings. Really? And then we have the Gods planet, which is a whole different planet, which is the whole prequel. Because people do mention that when Aelin falls through the worlds, there's more than just Prithian and Crescent City listed. Well, the aquatic one there's a wholly aquatic one, which is also mentioned in Crescent City to have been conquered by the Asteri and destroyed. And then there's the one where they ate all the kids and like took people out of the planet. But then there's like a couple more worlds. So I'm like, are those all the other worlds the Asteri already conquered?
Oh, that's sad.
That's sad. Because she
Oh my
only
God.
saw people. She really only saw people up close on the Prithian world. But she saw like a grand river and sparkling buildings, so like healthy, technically, was the Crescent City world. I'm like, they conquered all the other ones she fell through. I guess. Did they really destroy like 23 planets? 22 planets?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, you guys. All right, I gotta finish Tog now. I gotta finish Tog.
It
Yes,
makes
you
me
do.
worry that they're gonna pop
I
up out
know.
of the cauldron and try to take Prithian again.
That's absolutely what's gonna happen. Why do you think Reese is such a psycho at the end of Hofast? He knows it's gonna happen.
Because
He
why
knows.
Why harp on the fact that they will get their revenge and they want revenge on the Prithian world and they're gonna find a way, and then Bryce just ruined the whole plan, 15,000 years of planning. I feel like that was a little too easy.
Oh no, someone
Because
like
that's what
slipped
Aelin
through.
thought, and she shoved them into the Hell Realm where there's rifts and shit to get out to other planets. Thanks, Aelin. Thanks, Aelin. Yeah, you forged the lock. Okay, she forged the lock so they could never come back to the Throne of Glass world. Then how the fuck did Rigelus get back to the Throne of Glass world?
World.
How? Something happened. Something happened after they like died or something. I'm telling you. I can't believe that people still don't think that Tog's the past. Because if Aelin was there, she would spot immediately what Rigelus is. She'd be like, oh, it's a male mave. Get the hell out. I forged the lock. I locked it up. I locked this planet up. Yeah. But also, it's funny that both Tamlin and Reese have locked people up for their protection. Can I just mention that? Locked. Shielded. But yeah, how the fuck did they get back to the Tog world then? How? Oh, one planet kicked us out and then we went back. Yeah, the Shifter world. How'd you go back? Oh. Poor Aelin. Poor
I
Aelin.
need this.
And I don't even like Aelin, but she's poor Aelin. All that work for nothing.
I know. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to read it. I feel like I don't know. Aelin sounds better. Like the farther, you know what I mean? Like she sounds like she put in a decent amount of work, you know what I mean? Just
Oh
trying
yeah,
to
she
think
definitely
peaceful.
did. It's just like personality.
Personality, yeah. I know.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like if
I get it.
Feyre was like 10 times as powerful as Nesta, like insufferable.
I know. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that comparison. Yeah. You already know about her using Adian as a broodmare and shit, or wanting to. Like,
I
the
heard.
audacity.
I know.
But then again, you have Reese and Feyre being like, oh, when are you gonna have kids with Cassian? Shut up. Oh, Azrael. Shut up.
I love that stuff. So Like, I'm all for it.
I do
Okay.
when it's a healthy relationship.
Oh my gosh.
I've missed y'all so much. Oh my God.
I know. I'm so excited. Oh my God. Like just the last 2 times we filmed, I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, Olivia and Eka are back. I'm so excited. The girls are filming. The girls.
The old routine is back. I'm so happy. Oh my God.
The old routine and the crappy Wi-Fi because you just went so in and out.
We got what you were saying, but it's all of our Wi-Fi's too. It's like, I don't know what's going on with it. Mine's being weird too.
Yeah. Anyway, I did a theory board the other night, and I was looking for an RP partner to be my Tamlin to the Briar that I have on,
Right.
Instagram threads or whatever. And so this girl does not have a Tumblr, but she does have an Instagram and a thread. So she's like, oh, I can be your Instagram and threads Tamlin or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And so she made one today. But anyways, moral of the story is I was looking for GIFs to use on Giphy. And then the girl that I had canon as her face claim, her brother is Matthew Daddario, who is our Asriel. So it's Alexandra Daddario is who I face claim as Briar. And yeah, her brother is who I face claim as Azrael, which is just funny. So I was going through her things, and then I saw a bunch of really cool ones of him that reminded me of Azrael, and then that sent me into a Gwynriel spiral.
Wait, but he doesn't look anything like her.
Yeah,
Matthew?
I mean, they both have the black hair, and yeah,
That's
they both have
true.
the black hair, but
Yeah.
they're
Interesting.
yeah,
Sorry,
they're
I just had to
siblings.
say that. I was
Yeah,
like, they don't look anything
I
alike.
know. Yeah, he has brown eyes and she has blue eyes, but yeah, they're siblings. It's crazy.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
crazy.
Crazy.
So it sent me into a little Gwynriel spiral, and I realized that with however many Gwynriel things that I've done, I never did one about like comparing like the cold aspects of them. And so there's not many in terms of Gwen, but there are some. And I did the little board. So it says, so this one is obviously in the bonus chapter. But it says, aren't you cold? His breath clouded in front of him. Gwen shrugged. Once you get moving, you stop noticing it. And then Azriel tucked in his wings and left without another word, stalking through the house onto the front lawn to sit in the frigid starlight, to let the frost in his veins match the air around him. And then he lands in the training ring, and it says, it was too late to bank without appearing like he was running. Azriel landed in the ring a few feet from where Gwen practiced in the chill night, her sword glimmering like ice in the moonlight. Moon and stars. And then in the books, this is Akasif, it says they practice in cold so much that it bit into their palms. Even their shields sometimes became crusted with frost. Valkyries learned to fight in all kinds of weather, Gwen told them, especially the cold. And then these are all the Azrael ones because there's a lot, actually.
Gwen is basically Elsa.
Yeah. It's Elsa and Jack Frost. They're Elsa and Jack Frost.
I love that.
Well, technically, she's like Anna, but with Elsa's powers.
I love it.
So I tried to put these in order of like the books, like chronologically, but we'll see how well I did. So this is Akamath when Azrael and Cassian first show up with Feyre there. It says, that midnight voice said with quiet cold that licked down my spine, as do I, because Amren's like, I have something to talk to Reese about, and then Azrael was like, as do I, and she was like, that midnight voice of cold. And then it says, the second male murmuring to his companion, if you're going to pick a fight with him, do it after breakfast. That voice, ... like shadows given form, dark and smooth and ... cold.
Like a High Lord.
Oh, if Azrael becomes a High Lord, I will freak out.
Shadow singers are rare, coveted by courts and territories across the world for their stealth and predisposition to hear and feel things that others can't. Perhaps those shadows were indeed whispering to him then. Azrael's cold face yielded nothing.
Okay, but also, you know how like people were saying that he feels Aleutian's mating bond or something like that? That's why
he smells it. Yeah.
Or he smells it. That's why he smells it, because he's a shadow singer. And right?
Yep. It is. It was Azrael didn't answer. I held his gaze. This is Reese's POV. I held his gaze though, held that ice cold stare that still sometimes scared the shit out of me. I'd seen what he'd done to his brothers all those centuries ago. It was from the frozen precipice that Azrael had plummeted into that sometimes rose from the pit of my memory. The beginnings of that frost cracked over his eyes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Like the frost cracking over the Valkyrie shield that Gwen held. Yep. Azrael turned his face toward me, ... The frozen rage there rooted me to the spot. That was Feyre. Azrael's mask of cold didn't so much as waver at Mor's rejection. But you know that hurt. You know that hurt. When she pulled her hand away in Aka War.
But like, why does she also, I get why she reacts so strongly to him, but so ridiculous.
But like, it had to be the hands. Come on. She's such a bitch.
I know.
I hate her.
She really is.
Yeah, we know this one. I watched the light shift inside the sapphire siphon instead, as if it were the great eye of some half-slumbering beast from a frozen wasteland. Mm-hmm.
I love that quote, though.
I know. And then another more one. I could have sworn hurt flickered in Azrael's eyes, but he only shrugged, his face again that mask of cold indifference. He tries so hard.
I love him so much.
Yeah. And then in Reese's like mind, I guess, because it's in italics, it says, there was an icy rage in Azrael I had never been able to thaw. In the centuries I'd known him, he'd said little about his life, those years in his father's keep, locked in darkness. Perhaps the shadow singer gift had come to him then. Perhaps he'd taught himself the language of shadow and wind and stone. But also, the way that Amren's like, the wind and the stone whispers, and okay, Amren, that's why you're wary of Azrael, because he knows the same shit that you know. Right? Call off your dog. I was like, oh shit.
I
know. But yeah, I was like, you can't tell me that that's not on purpose. Gwen is cold. Azrael is cold. Lucian is hot. Elaine is hot. Come on. Like, people need to be real. I do not understand Elreal people. They're polar opposites. They have nothing in common. They barely speak. Like, it just bothers me so much. And then, again, when Gwen is like, I blame Cassian for this. He's too busy making eyes at Nesta to notice mistakes these days. It says Azrael laughed. I'll give you that. Gwen smiled broadly. Thank you. Azrael dipped his head in a sketch of a bow, something restless settling in him. Even his shadows had calmed, as if content to lounge on his shoulders and watch. Oh. I love it.
It's almost like his shadows are the new cereal.
Yeah. And Gwen notices them, like she smiles at them. I love it.
And she's the only person to ever do that. Yes. To smile at his shadows.
Yes! He thought it could have been directed at his curious shadows. I was like...
And I just can imagine them just like sitting there on his shoulder, like, oh,
twirling around her arm, like, playing with her hair, dancing their breath,
smacking her ass.
Yeah.
He walks by.
Oh my god. Yeah. if Sarah's like, oh, Azriel's so kinky, the shadows are helping. The shadows are helping.
But also, like,
especially with their mate. Come on.
but also that would mean that Azriel and Tamlin, because Tamlin has like shadow hands too. I'm like convinced.
Yeah, he has the like wind hands. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be Tamlin and Azriel, but that's just me.
Oh, 100%. And Tamlin has the antlers, the handlebars.
Melanie, PG-13, please. Not that we've ever been PG-13.
Right? When have we been PG-13?
There's an R rating on this. And then again, which I will say a million times, unabashedly, the fact that the only fact we learn about Azriel is through Gwen is astonishing, because she says Gwen angled her head, hair shining like molten metal. Okay, Autumn Court. Autumn Court. There's the Autumn Court. Autumn, but the cold side of autumn. Do you sing? He blinked. It wasn't every day that people took him by surprise. But, ... why do you ask? They call you Shadow Singer. Is it because you sing? I am a Shadow Singer. It's not a title that someone just made. She shrugged again irreverently. Azriel narrowed his eyes, studying her. Do you, though? Sing. Azriel couldn't help his soft chuckle. Yes. She's like,
he gives it right back to him. He gives it right back to him. And he's just like,
oh, so amused. Everyone is always so wary of him that he's like, oh, everyone's afraid of me and I'm so icy. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. Answer my question. It's just so funny. I love them together so much. And then obviously the whole something sparked in his chest. He could picture it, how her teal eyes might light upon seeing the necklace. He tucked away the thought, and the smile it brought to his face buried the image down deep where it glowed quietly, a thing of secret, lovely beauty. And then literally 2 chapters later, he sees her eyes light up because then she like went through the whole course. Also, I love that one too. When she's like, well, where's my prize? And he's like, we didn't get you a prize because we didn't think you would do it. She's like,
it's funny because she goes up to him a lot and like instigates conversation with him a lot.
And that's what has to happen with extrovert versus introvert. Like, go up to him, Gwen. She's like, where's my prize? We didn't get you one. And then, okay, which is funny because then after they actually do the whole qualifier and everything, and then, or she like does the ribbon or whatever, and then Nesta's like, you're the new ribbon as. Like, you're the prize. You're the prize.
I just don't know why SJM would have Nesta say this if she's not gonna
no shit
elaborate on their relationship some more. I don't know.
And also, what did Azriel mean by this? Because I've heard 2 different answers from people who are Gwynriels. Now, it says, when Gwen reached the finish line, bloody and panting and grinning so wildly her teal eyes glowed like a sunlit sea. That was the 2 chapters later. She only extended her battered hand to Azriel. Well, you already have your prize, Azriel said simply. You just passed the blood right qualifier. Congratulations. Gwen gaped at him. So, like, did he actually mean, like, oh, you passed, so that's your prize in and of itself? Or did he mean, like, I left you a necklace on Solstice as your prize?
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
Or is it like, I'm your prize? Like, I don't...
Yes, the answer is yes to both.
Yes to all 3.
I think we all 3 wish that, but...
Oh my god, it's just so funny. It's just so funny. I love them so much. But I did do one where it was a long time ago when I was actually shipping Neris before I read Crescent City. But I did this whole thing about how autumn is both harvest and decay. So it's both like warm and cold, two sides. And I think that's exactly what Gwen is. I think she's the colder side of autumn, whereas, Lucian obviously and Eris are like the warm side of autumn. But Eris kind of toes the line. So I guess you could say Lucian is the warm side, Gwen is the cold side, and Eris is kind of in the middle, towing the line.
oh, Eris is the equinox. Just
yes, shifting.
Which means he's a Virgo. Virgo
I could
Libra.
see that. I could see that. Gwen is
also. Go ahead.
Gwen's 100% Capricorn. Like there's 100% Capricorn.
Oh yeah.
That I will say it. When she said, "Oh, Steph's birthday will be the birthday of Azriel's person," I was like, "It's Gwen. We knew it." Steph is the hugest fucking Gwynriel shipper. You can't tell me that if Sarah's not telling her that she's not making Gwen her like favorite character, Azriel's person. Come on.
Wait. Go over this because I don't know any of this. Who is Steph?
The lore. Steph is one of Sarah's friends. She is a author interviewer, and she is also the one of the graphic designers for Bookish Box, I think, or like the Darkly Box.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has pictures with Sarah for like all of her events and all of that stuff. They take pictures together, and because they're like friends in real life. It's Steph and Ava, but Steph does more of the interviews. And so Steph is the girl on the interviews that I send you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
With like the glasses and everything.
Okay.
So, yeah. So in one of the interviews, she's asking Sarah like, "Oh, well, someone asked," and I'm not going to get too ship specific, but somebody asked like something about Gwynriel. And she's like, "Oh, well, people were saying that somebody couldn't end up with somebody else because they have the same hobby and it would be too much like Glee." And Sarah was like, "What?" Meaning like they're both singers. And Sarah made like this like disgusted face and she was like, "Huh?" And then later on Steph was like, "Oh, like, yeah, can you give somebody my birthday, if you know what I mean?" And Sarah's like, "Yeah, okay, I will give Azriel's person your birthday, okay?" And so then in another interview, like years later, like 2 years later, like 2022, I think, she brought it up again and she was like, "So about my birthday." And she's like, "Yes, I know. I promised I gave Azriel's person your birthday."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it's Gwen. It's Gwen. Like, undeniably. Elaine is not a Capricorn. Elaine's a fucking Cancer. Elaine's a fucking Cancer. Come on. Her birthday is like June 20th, like the summer solstice. Longest day of the year for sunshine. Which is also my last chance at like an announcement because Akasif was announced in June. So, not to get your hopes up, but it was. And actually, it was supposed to come out in January, but because of COVID, they had to push it to February. So, if we get an announcement this month, it could be a January release. I'm still convinced that it's this month.
I'm not convinced of anything at all.
I go back and forth every day of whether it's going to be the Illusion book or the Gwynriel book. I still go back and forth.
I think it's going to be the Gwynriel. Because they have more to go off of.
I know.
Yeah.
Someone actually did like this big long, I forget which Tumblr user it was, but somebody did a big long Illusion and Gwynriel post based on urgency and like language of urgency. And actually it was like Illusion had a lot more like urgency language. Whereas, Gwynriel's was more like relaxed and like we'll get to it whenever. So I was like, like it was like a really enlightening post when you see all of it laid out in quotes. I love that shit so much.
If you see it, will you send that? Because that's fascinating. I'm still trying to figure out how to work Tumblr because I'm a dinosaur and don't understand it. But
yeah.
So like, what were some other points on like as far as urgency goes, like with illusion?
God, it was a while ago.
Was it?
Yeah. I might have taken screenshots. I don't know. I'll see if I can find it a little later. But it was very interesting how it was like more like urgent on the illusion side than like the Gwynriel side.
Interesting.
But my argument with Teresa, because she's like, I would be so petty and I probably wouldn't pick up a Gwynriel book for months because I want illusion first. Like she's so illusion. She would be so mad if it was Gwynriel first. But my argument for that was like, okay, but Azriel's gotten like, POV bonus chapters and he was in Hofas and, there's a lot, even the whole shadows swirling around him humming in Hofas was very Gwynriel coded. So I was like, why would she give us like Azriel content and no Elaine content if Elaine was next? But then I guess on the flip side, I said like maybe she was doing that like, to sate us until the Gwynriel book. It could be taken either way. What do you guys think?
What do you think, Eka?
Like a red herring?
Yeah. Kind of like, oh, here's some Azriel content to hold you off till his book,
Well, I mean, I see it that way, but there still has to be something for Lucian to go off on, and there's not much.
Not yet. I know.
They have to build up to that.
I mean, I guess if you want to make the argument in terms of Phazan and Nessian, like there really wasn't any there either, except for like obviously the bargain or like Nesta forced to be around Cassian. But like there really wasn't anything there before Akamath for them either.
Oh no, there was.
Yeah.
There was that bonus content.
Yeah, the Akamath one, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was after they originally met.
To where she like meets. Yeah.
But she wanted nothing to do with him, just like Elaine. That's why I was like, it's the same thing.
She's claimed she doesn't want anything to do with him. She really wanted a lot to do with him, let's be real. And she said it.
Did she, though? At the moment, I don't think she did. I think in retrospect, she was like, maybe I actually loved him all the way back then. I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Nesta. Shut the fuck up. Just because you're healed, you can't change your mind on something that happened in the past. Stop rewriting the past.
She's not healed. She still has a long way to go.
I know. Yeah, and she's not even healed. So it's like, why are you rewriting your own history? Stop. They're manipulating you. Stop.
Well,
really.
That was a really good point that you bring up, that like Nessian had their own bonus chapter and then it was like a Nessian book and like Gwynriel had their own bonus chapter.
Yeah.
And like she really did build up Azriel's character in Hofas.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Right? It'd be weird to jump to Illusion, but then what if she kept Elaine out of the book so that for this next coming book that comes out, we
like
go
a tandem.
It's like, at like the same time, like all of Elaine's POVs, but like
helping Spring and all that shit. Yeah, exactly, like a tandem, like Empire.
And also too, it's what Phazan said about the sisters. Let's focus on one sister before we work on the other.
Mm-hmm.
That is so double-sided because, like,
I know.
What does it mean?
Sarah knows how to write this shit where we're like, what the fuck? It could mean two different things.
How did she do it?
Nesta's story is not done.
No.
Nesta's story is not done. She has to find out about the blades, about the tattoo. She has to follow Bryce's advice.
Liberate it.
Yeah.
Get info from Cormac. Learn how to winnow.
Like, my logical...
But she said it's not a Nesta book. Like, we know the next 3 books. That's why I'm like, the fuck?
It doesn't make any sense because she leaves Nesta on this cliffhanger. Like she had to have changed her mind, you guys. There's no way.
Well, actually, to be fair, if it's the Azriel book, we could see Nesta's journey through Azriel's eyes, especially because he's also connected to the Dust Court, remember? He's a Starborn prince.
So do you think she would do like the first person in Azriel, like just a sole Azriel POV?
No, I think the spinoffs are all going to be third person omniscient, like Nesta.
Really?
Yeah. Which allows us to see different characters' journeys in the same book, even though it's focused mostly on one character. Like, we got Phazan's shit in Nesta's book, but it's technically from Nesta's point of view, right?
Right.
But it's third person, so we can step back and see it as a whole instead of just in their one-sided point of thing. Which is why I argue with people all the time, because they're like, Phazan, we're only pieces of shit because it was in Nesta's POV. Like, no, it was third person. Yes, it was in her POV, but third person makes you take a step back and look at things as a whole. So
it was limited third person.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, so it wasn't first person in her direct mind's eye. You know,
it was also through Cassian's POV too, and they were like
2 chapters, maybe.
Yeah, he didn't get many, but like they were like that through Cassian's POV too. So like when you have 2 people's perspectives of them like that, I don't know. I disagree.
I loved that. Can I just say I loved that when Cassian's like, always a prick. And I was like,
okay, when you read Cassian, like in his mind called Reese out multiple times, you guys. Like you gotta give him some credit.
In his head,
he does.
No, like, boy, do something then. What are you doing?
But he sees it. You gotta give, that's like a start. He at least saw it. A little bit.
See something, say something. If you don't say something, it means nothing.
Maybe he will.
Yeah, hopefully.
Maybe he'll get enough tired of Reese's bullshit. He'll do something about it.
Yeah.
I think it also has to do with whether the Illyrian tattoos are actually like slave marks and shit.
Yeah.
I guess. Because if Azriel is like other, then it wouldn't affect him like it affects Cassian, because Cassian's just a bastard.
What if with the Illyrian Revolution, Cassian and Azriel also become liberated?
I didn't.
Dude,
I didn't want to get into this, but I just don't think it's gonna end well.
I couldn't see her doing that. I mean,
the one that I found after I did the theory board was wild. And Akafas, when it literally says, oh, the Illyrian lords still want Cassian dead. I was like, they what now?
Wait, when did it say
what
that?
I'll bring it up. It's when they're talking about not telling him about the scope of the coup in Akafas.
No.
That's why I'm like, I think he's gonna like go up there and they're just gonna fucking turn on him.
That's gonna fucking suck.
Yeah. When was that we were talking about? Do you guys remember the Ides of March conversation that we had?
The what?
Was it the Ides of March conversation where like who was it though? Was it Reese or was it Cassian? Because like, could you imagine Cassian landing at the Illyrian camp and then
that was Cassian. Yeah, that was Cassian. And
stabbing.
They're preparing.
But I thought the coup was the guy that was trying to kill Nesta in Silver Flames. No?
Bellius? No.
There
was so they think that the threat is absolved mostly because it was this one novice who was spreading all of the Night Court hate to the camps, and he got thrown in the blood rite, and curiously he died first. Everyone's like, Azriel fucking offed him. They're like,
That's
Azriel went
awesome.
and fucking offed him. Come on. But when they're talking about it in Akafas, they are saying that there's actually a second one in Aka War too, because I thought it was this one that I was talking about, but then I found another one. This is in Aka War when Cassian's, going through them and killing all of the Highburn soldiers, and it says, that was who had been training me, why Faye trembled at his name, Feyre. Why the highborn Illyrian warriors had been jealous enough to want Cassian dead. Okay. So this was right after the whole Rhys fighting with Azriel about disbanding the Illyrians and when the frost cracked over his eyes and he was getting pissed and everything. Rhys says, this is Rhys's point of view. We will keep an eye on the dissenters. I finished, letting Azriel sense a rumble of the power that prowled inside of me. Let him feel that I meant every word. Cassian knows it's growing amongst the camps and it's willing to do whatever it takes to fix it. He doesn't know just how many there are, though. And perhaps we should wait to tell him until after the holiday. Azriel blinked. I explained quietly, he's going to have enough to deal with. Let him enjoy the holiday while he can. I don't think they ever told him in Akasif. Because then he was dealing with, all that shit. Az and I made a point not to mention Nesta. Azriel says he'll be pissed at us for keeping it from him. He already suspects much of it, so it's only confirmation at this point. Azriel ran a thumb down Truth Teller's black hilt, the silver runes on the dark scabbard shimmering in the light. What about the human queens? Da-da-da-da-da.
So then Rhys is also willing to go behind Cassian's back as well as Feyre's.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think they ever circled back to that conversation in Akasif, did they? Just like, oh, we'll talk about this later, when Feyre called him out for the shit he did to her under the mountain.
Yeah.
He's a very tactical,
manipulative person.
I don't know what the word would be, but he knows everything, right? But it's timing. It's all about, he knows the perfect timing for everything.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Cunning.
Rhys is the most cunning High Lord. No
he is. I mean,
Yes, I know. It was healthy, perhaps, for Az to sometimes remember where he'd come from. He still wore the Illyrian leathers and had not tried to get the tattoos removed. Yet! Why was that even mentioned if it's not gonna happen? Also, this might be a little bit of foreshadowing too, which I highlighted, but I don't think I've ever gone into it either. I'll still look for the thing. But Cassian was talking about the Illyrian girls training or whatever, and how an Illyrian bow is so freaking heavy and shit. And it says, if one of the girls decided to take up the Illyrian bow, I would oversee her lessons myself.
Cassian! Is his daughter gonna be taking up the Illyrian bow?
Oh, that'd be so cute.
What is it? And he teaches her how to use it?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I would love that.
Here's okay.
I love Cass.
Here's another one. I don't think it's the one that I was looking for, but here's another one. It says, Rhys's point of view. If the Illyrians revolted, ... I didn't want to think that far down the road. Okay, Feyre. I blocked it out. I didn't want to think about it. You're the High Lord. You have to think about it. I didn't want to think that far down the road. What it would cost me, what it would cost Cassian to fight the people he still so desperately wanted to be a part of, to kill them. It would be far different from what we'd done to the Illyrians who'd gladly served Amarantha and done such terrible things in her name. Far different. I shut out the thought. Later, after solstice, we'd deal with it later. Cassian mercifully seemed inclined to do the same. Not that I blamed him. Even now, centuries later, the camp lords and commanders still challenged him, spat on him. See? They hate him. And Feyre mentions, I think it might have been an Akor, but Feyre mentions that they want him dead still. Mm.
Even after the war where he
Well, yeah, because most of them are dead, and he didn't protect them. And remember, the cauldron took all of them out because Nesta yelled his name and he left. He left them. So, yeah. I hid my smile and said to Cassian, perhaps you should get a place of your own. I have one in Illyria. In Illyria! Where they're gonna fucking kill you? Great. Okay, also, Rhys. I chuckled again but held in my retort, my suggestion that he might want a place of his own soon. So, what? Did you do the whole mate bond between them? I'm so confused. Everything is confusing.
No, he just knew that it was about to snap into place.
How, though? How? How?
Because the angst was there and Rhys has been there. The angst.
The angst. Yeah, again, Cassian soared toward Ramiel, unable to resist the ancient summons. Ramiel had always felt alive somehow, awake and watchful. That's not good. That's not good. Oh, okay. I made myself ask, is Devlon one of the would-be rebels? I prayed it wasn't true. I resented the male and his backwardness, but he'd been fair with Cassian, Azriel, and me under his watch, treated us to the same rights as full-blooded Illyrian warriors, still did that for all the bastard born under his command. It was his absurd ideas about females that made me want to throttle him, missed him, but if he had to be replaced, the mother knew who would take his position. Cassian shook his head. I don't think so. Devlon shuts down any talk like that, but it only makes them more secretive, which makes it harder to find out who's spreading the bullshit around.
Watch it be like, what if Balthazar is the traitor?
No, don't you?
No, that would hurt.
I know.
Well, because wouldn't it hurt? But also, he's the politically inclined one, is he not?
No.
Yeah, but no. I feel like if that was true, he would have just let Nesta die.
But he didn't.
Oh, yeah, but he didn't.
Leave her as leverage.
Yes.
How was she leveraged when she won, though? He left her.
No, he knew about Feyre. He knew about Nesta. Why? Why does he want to know? You got to know your enemy if you're going to defeat them.
And if Nesta reveals that she and Cassian have had problems, leverage.
Yeah, but she didn't.
Yet.
He helped her save Emery.
Yeah.
He helped her save Emery. All he said was that, Feyre wouldn't let me live if I let you die. They all know about their High Lady at this point, because Rhys has been to the Illyrian camps with Feyre.
Doesn't mean he's not going to betray somebody.
There you go.
I just didn't see it. If he was going to, he would have killed them in the cave.
I don't know, not necessarily. Timing is everything, is it not?
Timing.
Yeah, but what would he use her for now? She's more powerful than him outside the Rite. He's just a novice. He doesn't have any power.
Well, he's a friendly face to Nesta, so now he can manipulate her. 1. 2, he needed that title of whatever, a Crithian or whatever, when you win the blood right, to get his support from fellow Illyrians to follow him.
Okay. Remember what Cassian said in his POV. He is not a courtier. He's not courtier like Nesta and Eris.
He's awful at it.
But Balthazar is.
We don't know, though, because Nesta's like, oh, he's politically inclined, but how does she know that? Like, he didn't tell her anything about himself.
Yes, he did.
Not really. Not about his family, not about, he really didn't say that much. He's just like, oh, Feyre wouldn't forgive me if I killed her sister. That's really all he said.
I think that this is my crack theory now, is that if there's going to be the person spreading shit about Cassian is going to be Balthazar.
Honestly, I would still be on his side. I don't give a fuck.
Of course you would.
Yes, you go, boy. Oh. Kill that bastard.
It's Balthazar. That's why he was introduced. He's going to be the next
I don't even
enemy.
care. If he turned dark, I'm still on his side. I don't give a fuck. I love him. Like, I just don't care. Yeah. Oh, and then Rhys's excuse of why he doesn't change the Illyrians' minds in terms of wind clipping and shit was like, it was a line I would not cross, and Cassian would never forgive me. What? Cassian is pissed that they're still clipping people. What do you mean Cassian would never forgive you? What do you mean? No. None of this makes sense. At this point, I just hope that like Rhys is the betrayal of the whole series.
I don't know.
Perhaps we need a permanent presence out here until the Illyrians remembered things like consequences. Where are your consequences, Cassian? You destroyed a building in summer. And it's like, oops. Oh well. What? What? What about your consequences?
He did the consequence. He's not allowed to go back to that court anymore.
But also the way that Rhys was like, oh, Devlon's a good guy. He's just misogynistic. He doesn't hate bastards. He just hates women. It's fine. What the fuck?
But like, look how Rhys treated Ember. It's like Rhys is kind of a misogynistic.
He is. He is. Hello, look what he did to Feyre during her pregnancy. Come on. Come on. No wonder why your sister would rather fucking leave the planet than be saddled with you as a High Lord. I can't wait. I want Lauren to come back and like go to Tamlin first. Like, because Rhys is all like, oh, my mate, my mate, my mate. And for Tamlin to be like, guess what? I have your sister, bitch.
Yeah.
With my fiance, I took your sister first.
But also,
glorious.
Can we just talk about how beautiful of a book, like, okay, because we don't, we're not the biggest Night Court fans. We like like kind of, but like how beautiful would it be if we got Lauren, who's like Night Court and Spring Court, and like just this awesome mix of the two. I need it.
Lauren,
I need it in my life.
Where are you, Lauren? Where
this
is
gorgeous Night Court, like female,
yeah,
going into Spring Court and like loving Spring Court and everything it had to offer.
Wouldn't it be cool if like, all right, so Cormac mentions Lauren when he talks about how him and Rune are related. He's like, oh, we're cousins through your mom or whatever, right? And like, wouldn't it be cool if like Lauren knew his plan and was like,
I love it.
And was like, oh, I can try to help. Or like, I don't know. Cause like, where the fuck was she during his wedding? I can't let it go. Why was his mom not at his goddamn wedding? There's no way that Bryce and Lydia didn't try to get his mother to go to the wedding. There's just no way. Right?
But also, like, Rune, he's kind of like a sentimental guy. And I can't see him wanting, like, I mean, it was a surprise wedding, but I can't see him like wanting to get
doing
married
it without
his
her
mom
there.
there.
Right?
Yeah.
Where was she?
Okay, real question to both of you. Do you actually think Sarah's gonna like bring Lauren back, or do you think she's never gonna appear again? Both. I need an answer from both.
You go first.
This is my answer for both.
You hope.
Oh.
I think she will be back, and I think she will be back because Sarah puts gigantic clues in bonus chapters that not everybody reads. But I think she does that on purpose, or it would be too obvious. Because if you remember, in that same bonus chapter, Rune and Flynn and Declan are making fun of Sathya and her ordeal. And they're like, oh, her ordeal was chipping a nail, right? What do we find out the next book? But Her ordeal was losing the love of her life because her father sold him to the Viper Queen. We needed that context to know, like, oh, that's right. We don't know what Sathia's ordeal was. I wonder if we're going to find out. Boom. Answered. Gwynriel bonus chapter. Azriel pictures Gwen's eyes lighting up. What happens 2 chapters later? Gwen's eyes light up and he gets to see it. It happens. The things that she puts in the bonus chapters come back the next book or like in a future book.
So, in theory, Lauren is coming back in this next ACOTAR book, right?
And it could be Azriel's or Elaine's, because if she goes to Tamlin first, that's Spring Court. But also, and again, the Gwynriel bonus chapter from Akasif had Azriel's shadows dancing in Gwen's breath. And then in Hofas, the bonus chapter, it had the shadows dancing in his breath. It's like all of the bonus chapter shit. All the bonus chapter shit. We have Feyre saying, oh, what should we name our child? And then he's born. Oh, it's Nyx. And we're supposed to know why it's Nyx. Because of the bonus chapter.
That's true. And then Wings and Ember, it was Nesta and Cassian. And then we got a Silver Flames book.
Mm-hmm. All of them. All of them.
So then, but
it's
then
gonna
if
be
you go
Gwynriel.
by, yeah, that's
No, because then, okay, it could be either though, because we have the Phazand one who talks about Elaine. And Feyre says, oh, well, if she wore the gloves that Lucian gave her, her hands wouldn't be all cut up. And then Rhys says, oh, I think Elaine is kind, and that's better than what Nesta is. And he's talking about Elaine. So it could be either. But if Lauren is coming back, I kind of feel like she would go to Tamlin first. I feel like that would be a Spring Court book, which would be like Illusion. Which isn't to say that we're not ever going to see the Night Court in this next book if it's Illusions, because obviously we will. Elaine's freaking sisters are there. Duh. But I think that would also be a way for Elaine and Lauren to connect because, oh, your brother's the High Lord, my sister's the High Lady. Hi, sister-in-law. Like, sister-in-laws, kinda, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but also something that just like occurred to me. I don't know why it just cracks me up when I think about it. But that like Rhysand is an Illusion shipper and Feyre is a Gwynriel. Or wait, no,
Feyre and Rhys are both Illusion.
no, Feyre is an Elreal.
No, she swapped in Akafas.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Remember when Elaine gets mad that he was giving her gifts and shit, and she's like, I don't owe him anything. And Farrah's like, I want you two to be happy. You can't just be polite to him. I want you two to be happy. You're both good people. And Elaine's like, I know. And then she talks to Moore about it, and Moore's like, they will be happy. Just give them time.
But
She
I think
switched.
she meant
The Elreal thing. The Elreal thing
meant individually. She meant individually, like not necessarily as a couple. She still ships Elreal, and Rhys still ships Illusion.
No, she doesn't. She didn't mean individually because she's talking to Elaine about being rude to Lucian.
What?
Which reminds her of literally her with Rhys or Nesta with Cassian. And she's like, yeah, she switched. Because when she talked about Elreal, it was literally just that one question to Rhys where she was like, oh, they look pretty together. Why wasn't it them? And who decides? And all this stuff. And it was basically just the conversation of like, who decides? Do you think Lucian is a good fit for her? And then Rhys is like, Lucian is loyal to a fault. So I hate him, but I love that he's an Illusion shipper so bad.
I love that Rhys is an Illusion shipper. Like he straight up.
Because he knows, like, what if Feyre did end up with Tamlin and I didn't get to have her? Like, he knows, right? Right? Hold on, my time. Here it is. Okay, here's the scene because it's not one of my favorite scenes, but it's one of my nice little scenes that I like. But also, can I just call out Lucian for a second here? Feyre's like arguing with him about the Band of Exiles, right? And then she like mind links Rhys. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to have caused him trouble. Do you need me to come home?" And Feyre's like, "I'll handle it." And he's like, "Let me know if you need anything." It says the bond went.
That was sweet. That was
and
sweet.
And then checking in, Lucian asked quietly, "I don't know what you're talking about," I said, my face a portrait of boredom. He knows when she's mind linking him. He gave me a knowing look, continuing to the door and grabbing his coat and scarf. "The bigger box is for you, the smaller one is for her." It took me a heartbeat to realize he meant the presents. I glanced over my shoulder to the careful silver wrapping, the blue bows atop both boxes. Also, the way that he coordinated their colors with the wrapping paper. That's such an Elaine thing. Come on. Because she was like, "Oh, and they have to give gifts because it's for all the people who died," and did it like that whole thing that she had. Like, this is that. Feyre gets kind of pissed at her though, and Elaine gets pissed right back. It says, "I found my sister in the kitchen watching the kettle scream. He's not staying for tea," I said. No sign of Nuala or Caradwyn. Elaine simply removed the kettle from the heat. I knew I wasn't truly angry with her, not angry with anyone but myself, but I said, "You couldn't say a single word to him, a pleasant greeting?" Elaine only stared at the steaming kettle as she set it on the stone counter. "He brought you a present." Those doe-brown eyes turned toward me, sharper than I'd ever seen them. "And that entitles him to my time, my affections?" "No," I blinked, "but he is a good male. Despite our harsh words, despite his Band of Exiles bullshit. He cares for you. He doesn't know me. You don't give him the chance to try to do so." Her mouth tightened, the only sign of anger in her graceful countenance. "I don't want a mate. I don't want a male." She wanted a human man. But today was solstice, and everyone was supposed to be cheerful and happy, certainly not fighting left and right. "I know you don't." I loosed a long breath. "But..." I had no idea how to finish the sentence. Just because Lucian was her mate didn't mean he had a claim on her time, her affection.
Oh my
Her
god.
own person, capable of making her own choices, assessing her own needs. "He is a good male," I repeated. "And it just... ... I fight for the words. I don't like to see either of you unhappy." Elaine stared at the work table, blah, 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 blah. "I know you don't." There was nothing else to be said, so I touched her shoulder and strode out. Elaine didn't say a word.
You know what's funny about that? It was on solstice. It's still Feyre's birthday, and she was still trying to argue with her. But when it's Nesta, she's like, "Please don't start things with Feyre. It's her birthday."
Right? Fucking Elaine.
Elaine, you little... Elaine's over here starting drama.
Shit.
She is. She's a sneaky little pot stirrer. I don't care what anyone says. Elaine is a secret pot stirrer.
Yeah.
I still love her.
I know, but
love her.
I know. Feyre was like, "He's still your mate. Like, you could be fucking polite." Like, she was kind of upset.
I will say this. That was one of Feyre's best scenes that she has ever had.
Yes.
I really like her in that scene. That brings me back to book one, Feyre.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why I love that scene so much.
Compassionate Feyre. Like,
yes.
Feyre who was like actually caring for her friends.
And also she's already
coming
Lucian,
back.
And she's already treating Lucian like a brother-in-law. Because she's like, "Oh, your Band of Exiles bullshit. He's a good guy. Give him the time of day."
Maybe Feyre that we all love is coming back.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Because
now that she has a child, I feel like she needs to be more introspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved her.
Hopeful. I am so hopeful because she drove me crazy in book one when she didn't say "I love you" to Tamlin, but I loved her in book one.
Yeah.
And the fact that she might be coming back to herself.
But again, it's always when she's not around Rhys. Every time she's around Rhys, she's fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's only normal like this when Rhys is not around. Why?
Yeah, that's a good point. And this is her normal, and this is the normal that I like of Feyre. You know?
And I say it again, like even back to the Highburn scene when she was like, "Oh, is Tamlin gonna make the jump? Is he gonna be okay? He didn't look back at me? Like, what?
Also,
You were worried about him though?"
Another favorite thing that I do like in regards to Tamlin, when they're at the summer court and she's like, I don't really want to have sex right now. Like we're under the same roof as Tamlin and it's that was sweet. That was good of her.
Yeah. But it's weird because I feel like Rhys was the one that kind of left the door open for that a little bit because they had that conversation where Feyre asks Rhys, because she couldn't think on her own apparently. She's like, "Do you really believe that Tamlin was on our side this whole time?" And Rhys had to be the one to say like, "Yeah, I do. And I think we fucked up in thinking that he was a traitor." Like, if Rhys never said that, she would have gone on telling people he was a traitor. So I feel like that kind of opened the door to her to be like, oh, well, if he's not actually a traitor, then maybe we shouldn't do this under the same roof as him because he's not as bad as we thought.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like she just makes her whole personality about Rhys when he's around, and I fucking hate it. Because again, it just reminds me of Tamlin's parents. My mother loved me in her own way, but she would never say a word against my father because she was his mate.
Oh, foreshadowing of face sand.
Yeah, yeah. And his father was a tyrant who murdered and abused humans, slaves. So he was actively cheating on the mother with humans too. She wouldn't say a word against him because he was her mate. And he got her a rose garden. It so reminds me of Phazan. Not that like Rhys would cheat, but being a tyrant, he's getting up there. He was so unhinged in Hofath.
I think out of that couple, Feyre would be the one to cheat because she did cheat on Tamlin with Rhys.
Agreed. I agree with that.
And everyone gets so mad when we say that. And I was like, no, at first it was emotional cheating, which, okay, I guess it's not as bad, but it's still a form of cheating, right? But the Hewn City scene was cheating. Yeah. And she calls it out in her head. And she's like, I'm such a traitorous bitch for this. Like, me and Tamlin hadn't even ... And then, of course, her thoughts trail off. And Rhys is like, don't feel guilty. It's just your body responding. And I'm like, bitch.
He's trying to, well, I don't know. Like, when he's like, it's just your body responding. Like, it doesn't have to mean anything. But at the same time, it's like, you're also enabling this, Rhys.
Yeah. But it does, and you're touching her, and she has a boyfriend. So she is still the one actively cheating. You aren't, so you don't care, because you want what you want. But she's cheating right now, because she's letting it happen. She chose to go there.
There is also, and like, Kier calls them out on it too. Like, what happened? Like, you're the bride of spring. Like, and like, you know, Kier was right to call her a whore. Just saying.
But she even says under the mountain, oh, I'm the harlot, the plaything of Amarantha's whore. Like, what? So you're resuming that position, but you weren't forced or drugged this time. You're actively participating. So now you're taking it to actual cheating.
Yeah, that part didn't make sense to me. Like, this is traumatic for you. Why are you going through with it?
Don't even get me started on the whole she wasn't triggered by it thing, because that pisses me off. You would 100% be triggered by it. And I hate the arguments where it's like, oh, but trauma bonding. That's not what trauma bonding is.
No.
That's not trauma bonding.
Under the mountain? Yeah. But when they're in the inn and they share a bed and he's like fingering the fuck out of her. That was cheating because she's like, he's like, what do you need, Feyre?
I know.
Like, all breathless. And she's like, I need
they're both a distraction.
I need a distraction. And meanwhile, she's like twerking it up against his crotch. And to his credit, He does
to his credit.
Right. He does two things right. He does not do it. He doesn't slip it in, which is great. And when he asks for consent this time, he says, I need a distraction. He has enough self-respect to say, just go to sleep, Feyre. Like, you're not going to use me in that way. Like, I have self-respect. I like that for him.
Okay, but also,
I did too.
Oh, God forbid somebody treats you like that, but you can treat everybody fucking else like that. I hate him so much.
I know.
It's so, yeah.
I feel like he's trying, but he's so used to being the bad guy that.
Okay,
yeah,
so
agreed.
Here's like another little clue that it might be the Aleutian Tamlin book next, maybe with Lauren, because this is right after, she kind of yells at Elaine about being rude to Lucian, and it's Moore, our resident truth person. Fucking Moore. I hate her, but this is my favorite Moore scene ever. This is my favorite Moore scene. I found Moore sitting on the bottom steps of the stairs wearing a pair of peach-colored loose pants and a heavy white sweater. That's okay. Whatever. That's kind of Eris and Cormac noted, actually. But all right. A combination of Amren's usual style and my own. Gold earrings flashing. Moore offered a grim smile. Do you want a drink? Mother above, yes. Do you want my advice? No, yes. I nodded. Moore drank deeply from her glass. Stay out of it. She's not ready, and neither is he, no matter how many presents he brings. I lifted a brow. Snoop. Moore leaned back against the steps, utterly unrepentant. Let him live with his band of exiles. Let him deal with Tamlin in his own way. Let him figure out where he wants to be, who he wants to be. Who is italicized. Who he wants to be. The same goes with her. She was right. I know you still blame yourself for your sisters being made. 'Cause it was Feyre's fault. Moore nudged my knee with her own, and because of that, you want to fix everything for them now that they're here. I always wanted to do that. That's why we love you, why they love you. Nesta, I wasn't so sure about. Fuck off, Feyre.
I know.
Moore continued, just be patient. It'll sort itself out. It always does. A kernel of truth. I refilled my glass, set the crystal decanter on the step beside us, and drank again. I want them to be happy. All of them. They will be. She said the simple words with such unflagging conviction that I believed her.
Wait, all of them? Meaning Nesta too?
Mm-hmm.
Then why is she flirting with Cassian?
Yes. More.
Because Cassian's not her end game.
No, that's not where it's going.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
They will be, all of them, eventually. Oh, I said this in the chat, and I know that you guys haven't been in the chat for a while. But you might not like it. But it makes sense to me. But yeah, she basically said that, like, Elaine and Lucian will be happy.
I know, but she didn't say together. It seems individual. They all will be. That's
because Feyre threw in Nesta, so now she's like, yeah, all of them. But they were originally just talking about Lucian. But also the who he wants to be. She knows
that he's Helian's son.
Mm-hmm.
So that was before she did the deed with Lucian's dad too.
No, this was after. This was Akafas. This was after.
Oh, this was after? Do we think that Helian disclosed to Moore that Lucian is his son during their romp session?
Well, he wouldn't even have to disclose. She can read truths in people.
So she already knew.
I think the minute she slept with Helian, she was like, oh shit.
She's like, Lucian is your son. Lucian?
Yup. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Moore knows. Tamlin knows. Feyre and Rhysand know. There's 4 people that know that Lucian is Helian's son.
And Lucian himself knows.
Lucian has to know. There's 5.
And Eris knows.
Eris knows.
Lady A knows, obviously. There's so many people that know, but it's like, oh my God, Baron. Oh my God, Baron. So you have to think like, how dangerous is Baron if all of these powerful people are this scared of him finding out about Lucian? And now that he's working with Koshi, his first target would be Lucian.
Oh, and I love Lucian so
I know. I actually think that that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to work with Koshi to take down Helion and Lucian just for the betrayal, because even Rhys says like, oh, if he's humiliated, he'll do anything to like, you know, get back at the people who humiliated him. I think that's what's going to happen, and then I think Elaine is going to go save Lucian with whatever crazy power she has.
I would love that. Oh my God, I would
love it. Right. But I want to mention,
awesome.
I know, but I want to mention, so Lucian's dominance with Cassian, that isn't an air power. That's a High Lord power. So, my theory that I had the other night is that what if Lucian is already the High Lord of the Day Court? And
no, listen.
And okay, listen. What if Lucian's already the High Lord of the Day Court? If Helion and Lady A know that he's their son, and Lucian was more powerful than Helion, because remember, Helion was a citizen. He wasn't a High Lord until Under the Mountain, right? What if Helion pretended to be the High Lord because he knew that his son was out there being the actual High Lord, and Amarantha thought that it was him? Because Amarantha didn't kill Lucian yet. She ripped his eye out. But if he was a High Lord, she would have killed him.
I mean, that is kind of a cool theory.
There's like two little things that hang me up on this, but hear me out. So I got two comments. One is then, how did Helion give Feyre a seat of power, High Lord power, when she came back to life? To that I say, how did Lucian perform Callan May if it's only High Lords that can perform Callan May? We know that back then, or when it happens, Tamlin basically could gift him the ability to do Callan May for him. But if he was already a High Lord, he wouldn't have even had to. But it's alluded to that you can, right? So once they were under the mountain, what if Lucian did gift his power, like his seed, to Helion? We know that that can happen because Rhys lets Feyre siphon him for the cauldron. So what if Lucian let Helion siphon him to do this, to keep up the facade? Because Baron was there, like in front of Baron, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second question was, which was a little more iffy, I don't know if I have a total answer yet, was, okay, well, how does Helion have a beast form then? And we know that shapeshifters are rare, right? But what if Helion is just also a shapeshifter like Tamlin? Because if they're both starborn, that means they both kind of, I guess, come from Aelin's line, right? And the Fae used to have animal forms. And Helion's animal form is like a griffin, like a bird form. And Aelin's, Rowan's line had bird forms as their secondary form.
That is cool, though.
So, because Rhys in Azriel's bonus chapter has that High Lord dominance, and it says like, oh, it knocked Azriel from his rage. The exact same words as when Lucian does it with Cassian.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is a High Lord power. That's not an air power. That is a High Lord power. So either he is already the High Lord of the Day Court, or he's already High King and doesn't know it yet.
Yeah. I
don't know
like
about
it.
High King. High Lord, yeah. High King, that's a bit of a stretch.
Unless when maybe the king of Hybern was killed, the land chose a High Lord for Hybern, and they chose Lucian. But I don't think so. I think it would be cool if like Helion knew and he was keeping up this facade for him. especially because of Baron and Koshi and all the shit. Because, like, how many times have people tried to kill Lucian? So many times.
Baby.
And the fact that Eris knows and, like, purposely doesn't hurt him because of that. And Eris is supposedly the heir of Autumn, right? But we're seeing Lucian use High Lord dominance. We've never seen Eris use High Lord dominance. That's why I'm like, that can't be an heir power. He has to already be a High Lord. Like, Lucian has to already be a High Lord to use that.
Oh boy.
The comparison with Rhys is wild. It's the same wording. It's the same wording.
See, I just take it as like he is next to be High Lord. I don't know. But I mean, that's not a bad idea. My only thing is that Helion demonstrates all of the High Lord stuff. You know what I mean?
But does he? When though?
Well, when
What about this? What about this? When before Tamlin realized he was heir, he was already powerful, more powerful than his brothers. And then when it snapped, when he and Rhysand both became High Lords, they were like equal in power. Mm-hmm. Lucian, I think, is the other equal because he was already powerful. Like he was powerful enough to do that. Mm-hmm. And Feyre saw his unglamored self.
That was my next point. When he was unglamored, he had the glow, like the High Lord glow.
Oh.
But I just assumed that meant he's been picked as like by the mother as next in line.
But like we don't see Helion display any dominance or anything. He's always aloof and jokey and all this stuff. Like we don't see him exert any dominance. Right? Like ever. Because Rhys is like, oh, don't bring a Pegasus to whatever. And then he was like, we'll compromise, I guess. It's like, And also, again, the line where it's like, oh, what's going on in your court, Helion?
My other point was that if Rhysand is Night Court and he's the most powerful High Lord, Day is the opposite. The Day Court High Lord would have to be his equal in power and strength.
And what do we get?
Like that.
And what do we get? The clever fox stares down winged death.
I love that.
He did not falter when Rhys threatened him at all. And Pharaoh's like, oh my God, he's like standing up to Rhys. Yeah, no shit, because they're equals. I think he's already the High Lord of Day.
I think that would be a fantastic twist if she wrote that in.
Because the magic picks the most powerful person of the court. So if he's more powerful than Helion, it would have gone to him. It would have passed over.
Wait a minute. Remember when in book 1, Lucian was trying to protect Feyre and glamour her? Remember, Rhys ripped that glamour away and he saw it. But now Lucian is strong.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
And there's a part in ACOWAR, which I think I've went over before, but it always kind of gives me pause. They're talking about the Ouroboros and the Bone Carver. When Amren gets pissed at Feyre for going, remember? She gets mad and it's the whole call off your dog thing with Azriel. But this happens before that. And Amren's quicksilver eyes swirled. Why did you go? Now this is Feyre. I opened my mouth, but the gold of Lucian's eye caught my attention and snared it. My hesitation must have been indication enough of my wariness. Jaw tight with a hint of frustration, Lucian excused himself to his room. Frustration and perhaps disappointment. I blocked it out, what it did to my stomach. Did they just have like a mental conversation that we're not a part of? And how, if he's not a High Lord? How did he snare her attention? Dominance. Because she is a High Lady only by title, not by magic.
Shit, does that mean that Helion is the one to die, not Cassian?
Oh, I think Healy's gonna die too. I think they're both gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love that though for Lucian. I don't know. It'd be a really cool
I'll have to send you my whole video on it. I did like
yeah, you'll have to send it to me. Oh my gosh.
Good. It's good. I've seen it.
Is it good? Oh my gosh, I'll have to watch it.
But the last thing that I want to say was that I ranted about this in the chat group for like 2 days straight because it just bothers me. And it is in terms of Cormac, but it's like more broad. So in Hofast, right? Bryce comes to Prythian and they see the hologram, and so that they know now that there's an eighth court and all of this stuff. Nesta still has no idea that she's the one that has the Starfire, that she's the one that's going to have to liberate it, right? So when it happens, we know that Rhys barely knows anything, and Nesta and Azriel only know what was said in the hologram, which was very much like swayed because it was Thea's child, right? So who is going to be there to explain to them what the fuck is happening? There is nobody in that world that has any of the information. The only person who has all of the information is Cormac because of the archives and all of his studies and the ability to winnow and all of this stuff. And I think it's very purposeful as well that, you know, Nesta has mentioned twice now, oh, I've never learned how to winnow. Nobody's ever taught me. Isn't that curious? Because who taught Bryce? Cormac. Isn't this curious that there is not one single soul in Prythian who knows the truth about the Dusk Court? And Bryce never discussed that with Nesta. She went there for the whole Dusk's truth thing, right? But she never discussed it with Nesta. She, like,
Mor didn't either. And she's supposed to.
Yeah. No, nobody told her anything about it. And then at the end of Hofast, Bryce is like, oh, good, I never have to go back there, and I never have to see the princes again, and I never have to do this, and we're going to have our happy ever after, and I'm going to get rid of all the titles and live a normal life. So she's done with it. So who is going to be there in Prythian to explain this shit when it happens? Who? Who? You answer me, because who? Because
I'm not saying no.
Not even Bryce knew all of the information, even at the end of Hofast. And she didn't explain it to Nesta. And we don't even know. I know you will argue me with this, but canonically, we don't know if Nesta and Azriel ever told Rhys anything. We don't know what was said. We don't know what was off page. It would be so cool to go back and see what was said. But as of now, we have no indication that he was ever told anything else about the prisoner or whatever. So even if he was, again, Celine's hologram is very biased because she was Thea's child. And even Bryce was like, I don't care. She's a piece of shit. Like, she was getting mad at Celine, like trying to, like, you know, be nicer to her mom. But, like, who's gonna be there to explain? There's nobody. Who? You're how? It will not make sense to any of these characters in world if we don't have somebody that has the information that can explain it to them.
You guys, if the Cormac thing comes to fruition, I mean, Bloomsbury's gonna have to interview both of you because it cracks me up. Like, you're the only. I love it. I love it. I just don't believe it. I just cannot get behind it. I think he's really dead, but I love it.
But seriously, who's gonna explain who? But no, like, to you, like, how could the Dusk thing happen without somebody to tell them the info? Like, what would happen?
Are you talking about, like, what would happen in Bryce's world?
No, like, when Nesta liberates the prison and has no idea what the fuck is happening, and then a star comes out of her chest because she has to make the drop at some point.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what's going to be going on. Like,
that's true. I mean, you have a good point. You have a good point. It would have to be, Cormac. Unless someone else knows more in the Prythian world, like Mor herself.
Well, it would have been like the Bone Carver or the Weaver or Bryaxis, and conveniently, they were all gotten rid of.
Or Amryn, like, maybe.
Amryn's never gonna say shit. She has her own agenda.
Yeah, it's true.
She doesn't want it to happen.
Interesting that Lucian didn't even want Feyre to talk in front of Amryn. That was an interesting thing.
Exactly.
Interesting. But I don't know. It sounds like
how do you think it could happen where Nesta liberates the prison and everything is like understood if it's not Cormac?
I think she just know from the hologram. I don't know.
He would need Az's help though.
Yeah.
Like I say, her and Az are gonna piece it together.
But who's gonna teach her how to winnow? Because Azriel doesn't winnow normally, and Cassian hasn't fucking taught her. And Rhys isn't gonna teach her because him and Cassian like her trapped in the house. She can't leave her goddamn house without Cassian.
What about Feyre?
Mm-hmm.
It would be
Feyre,
nice.
Elaine. Feyre or
nice.
Elaine. Elaine can
Elaine
winnow.
doesn't know how to winnow.
I think she does.
I thought she winnowed to stab.
Yeah, she winnowed to stab the
Hybern.
King of Hybern.
Oh, she did.
Yeah. And in the library when she scared Nesta. She just like fucking popped up and Nesta was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like seriously, if you think about it, like Bryce did the drop, she got her star. Aelin did the drop, she got her fire. We know that Nesta has the starfire because it says she has the starfire after the weird, crazy spell Symphonia sex shit that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like starfire and this world is affected and this world is affected. So what do you think her drop will be? Do you think she's gonna have to do it mentally like Aelin in like her worst time? Because I feel like I said this last time, but I feel like she hasn't hit her rock bottom yet. I think her rock bottom is going to come when she's alone, kind of like Aelin when she was in the coffin. So do we think she's going to like do it mentally like Aelin did and just try to, because there's a well of power, but then there's a well of power under it and there's a well of power under that. And it's like,
I think so.
That's the drop, is just
because she can
yourself.
Make things.
Yeah.
She can make things. So I would say yeah.
Yeah. So and like she hasn't really this might sound really out of pocket, but like what if the mother is going to make Nesta her equal? Because well, I was just thinking because the mother has been on her journey with her this whole time. And if Nesta can already make and unmake things, because she unmade Briolin and she made the blades, and there's a well of power under that, what else, like what more is there?
Nesta might be her avatar.
That'd
like
be cool.
A handmaiden, kind of like Clotho.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I could see that.
So what powers do you think Nesta could have that we haven't seen yet? Because if there is a well of power under what she already has, like Aelin, how her fire went all blue and like fucking exploded shit. Like, what do you think the bounds of Nesta's power are going to be?
With the trove or without the trove?
Either, because with the trove, she's already like she's already a god, technically, like Aelin. Do you think like her fire is gonna take on another sort of, I don't know, another sort of state, kind of like Aelin's did? Or do we think it's going to have to do with like the Starborn power?
Maybe more leaning to the Starborn.
Agreed. She's
yeah.
Well, what can Bryce do? Because Bryce and Nesta are like
the sisters, technically.
Yeah, they're sisters.
Yeah.
So
well, Bryce has the Starfire and the Star, which is what I said. Like,
what you think?
It's gonna have to come out.
Remember what Az said?
What? He said a lot.
No. 3 sisters for 3 brothers. What if it's not the Archerons? Bryce is a sister. Nesta is a sister to each other. like an energy. So who would be the Tog sister?
Aelin.
3 sisters. Those 3. Not all 3 of the Archerons. Nesta.
Okay, I like that thought.
Bryce and Aelin.
I like that thought because who did Rhys see?
Jerian?
Aelin. He saw Aelin as a person and not a star.
True.
So if it's the 3 brothers, 3 sisters, so it would be Aelin and Rhys, Bryce and Az, and then Nesta and
Cormac.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, we will see. We will see.
I had one question, and I just really, really quick, and just first thing that comes to your head.
Okay.
All right. What do you think Nesta's situation will be for her drop? Like, what do you think her rock bottom will be that will allow her to delve into that well of power? Because obviously, again, Aelin's was being fucking locked in a coffin for months.
Losing Cassian in one way or another. Maybe not dying, though. Maybe him being held hostage by the Illyrians and them trying to, like, tear him apart, and she just loses it.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good one, Eka. Oh.
Yeah.
They already think she's a witch. She's already claimed that she's a witch.
Yeah, her delving into that well, under the well, to save someone she loves, that makes sense.
I mean, because really, the thing with the Kelpie should have been the drop, but it wasn't.
Ordeal. I feel like she's had so many ordeals.
She's had so many ordeals. Saving Feyre was an ordeal. Like, helping
the blood right was an ordeal.
The blood right was an ordeal. Helping Bryce and, you know, defending her was an ordeal. So, like, it would take...
Dealing with Rhys was an ordeal.
Dealing with Rhys was an ordeal. So it has to be something...
like, more wild than that. What if her drop is having to delve into that well of power to quell Rhys's Valg?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, what if it's like saving Rhys? Like you're mostly like you guys are fighting and you hate each other and like you're pissed and he's such a dick to you and you have to save the person that's such an asshole to you.
Oh, which would mirror Tamlin too. And then he'd have 2 life deaths to the people he hates the most.
What builds character?
Yeah. And because I keep going back to Amren's fucking foreshadow when she's like, when you explode, make sure it is felt across worlds.
But she did already explode, though. That's the only thing that I will say.
Not across worlds, though.
You could argue, like, she was on Ramiel, so, like...
I mean, I will say that, like, when... with her and Cassian and the Symphonia thing, it does mention, like, different worlds being affected by, like, them finishing, which is weird. But, I mean, it does the same thing for Phazan, so I can't really count that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, like, I feel like... Okay, so what if Nesta somehow... What if they find the crystal?
She saves Nyx! She saves Nyx! She would explode to save Nyx!
Yeah,
that would make total sense.
What if she finds the crystal, asks Bryce's planet to help somehow, like to open the portal or something, or she does it with like the harp or the mask or whatever the fuck, and then she realizes she can do it herself, but then like the portal opens and then like her power does explode and affects multiple worlds.
I think she's gonna find a crystal in Dawnport because if she's gonna be the queen of dust, what's the opposite?
Yeah. That's why I say poor Thesan
has a lot of things.
Thesan's praying and hoping there isn't a 4th Archeron sister.
He's like, oh,
He's like, fuck.
Worse.
But like, no, like I meant like the calm crystal, because remember, Reese still has the fucking calm crystal.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't forget about that. We still need to make our bingo board of things she's gonna forget about.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We have to make the bingo board.
Let's do it.
What do we win if
I know.
what prize? What prize?
When over here.
I know, right? What's our prize? You already have your prize. It's a new book, bitch.
When.
The crystal, Tamlin's ring, Reese's mother's ring. What the fuck else? Briar, Balthazar.
We legit need to make one before the next book. We should
do.
like work on it.
I have like a little list so far, but
Oh, good.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
and then we just have to, and then like everything she does actually bring up, we can like exit out.
I love it.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
The Akafath Girls Paranormal Activity Outtakes.
I don't know. I got distracted by a shadow that was behind Olivia that just went.
Oh no.
Stop it.
I'm serious.
I will be
It like went through the wall and then like flash stepped that way, and I'm just like, what?
Don't freak us out.
I saw your face, Eka, and I was like, what is she looking at? And I just I knew something. Okay, you guys, I'm going to be praying. I'm sleeping with all my lights on. My Bible's next to me. But like, okay, for real, when we moved into this house, I just have to tell you guys, when we moved in, I had this immediate feeling of like, creepy. It's so creepy. Like something's not right. Something's not right. So like, would not be surprised.
Like I legit saw like a shadow just went, and I'm like,
maybe that's why you're sick.
What?
They got done with you in their house. Oh shit.
What the? Eka! God damn it. I know. Where's my?
Oh my god! I recorded that.
See this stuff. I only see this stuff. I don't command them. I'm not Lady Death. I promise. I'm just Elaine.
You guys, okay, when I say I told my husband, I'm not surprised by this. I was like, we need to move. We need to get out of here. Literally, I said this a month and a half ago.
Oh my god, that's why you're sick. The ghost is mad at you for pointing it out.
That's why I'm sick.
Probably.
I went and bought, I'll have to show you guys like all these pictures and art I bought. Like, I'm losing it.
I'm like sweating right now. I need my fan.
That's why I got this, because I ain't going to be sweating shit.
My house is so weird. It'll be really hot and then like really cold and then really hot. I'm like, ugh. But yeah. Okay, Lady Death. Excuse you. Excuse you. Okay, Erd. What the fuck you doing?
As I try to go to sleep later in this bed.
I'm telling you, give me the evil eye charm.
Oh my god.
I do. I literally was looking up bringing someone into the house to like pray over it. And so now you're saying this. And now you're saying this to me like a couple weeks later.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we were talking and
okay,
then like
and then you have the word witchy above you, which doesn't help your situation.
Me?
Really?
No, Eka.
Oh, that
It says witchy.
How do you see that? I can't even see that up there.
I see everything. I guess me
Oh
and
my God.
me and Eka just swapped places for the night. She's Lady Death and I'm the seer.
You guys are like Johnny on the spot with this stuff. Oh my God. Good grief.
I did a crazy.
Watch?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you first.
Did you guys ever watch that show when we were like in high school and it was Jennifer Love Hewitt and she was the ghost whisperer?
Ghost Whisperer! I love that show. It's one of my favorite shows. And I would creep myself the fuck out by watching it at night before school. It would be like 11 o'clock at night. I'd be watching it on my phone on Netflix. And I'd be like, fuck, no, I can't sleep. Fuck, I can't sleep.
I could go watch it, okay? Because you're Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I love it.
The lights are dancing on and you're behind you, and it's like kind of creeping me out.
Did you? Now I'm like checking over my shoulder. Did you see?
I just see like the
on
lights. I just see like the shift of the lights.
Yeah.
But did you guys see when I turned on the big light and that one did it like was like blinking and stuff like that? I was like,
That's not normal, sweetie. I mean,
okay, that happened to me in my dorm.
I mean, my light does that, but that's also because I have a resident ghost and he has like, hey, here's some news. Pay attention to me. And it's like, hey, Neil, what do you want?
What now?
What now, Neil? And then we'll do a pendulum and he'll tell us. And it's like, okay, thank you, Neil.
Oh, hell no. I'm not doing that. I don't want to know anything.
My aunt has a Ouija board and she did it last Halloween.
Oh,
she's like, we have to do the Ouija board. We have to do the Ouija board. I was like, I am not touching that thing. No, and my luck. Fuck no. She woke up with like scratches on her legs the next morning. I was like, nope, I'm good.
Like weird marks, right?
Yeah.
Like opening up a portal with weird marks, except you don't know it's going to come out. It's either Vogue, demon, or something else.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not taking my chances on that lottery.
No.
Yeah.
You have to
she thinks it's hilarious. She thinks it's fun. I'm like, I'm not touching that.
That is not my definition of fun.
I'm like, hello, I live in this house with you. Fuck off. What the
no.
Keep it far away from my room. I'm gonna put salt.
How old is your house?
Her house? Olivia, your house?
Okay, my house is my house or Mel's house.
Your house lives
10 years old.
What?
It's not even that old.
It's 10 years old. And I literally had that feeling that you were describing the minute we moved in.
They built it. Something happened to the last house.
Okay.
Or it was like a psych hospital, or it was like some creepy ass. You should look up the address. See what comes up.
I don't know how I looked up the previous one, but there was one previous owner before this. And I just, yeah. So
they left within 10 years.
Well, I'll have to tell you guys, there was a lot of drama that happens and some things that I'll tell you later. But
oh my God. That's why nobody in your house can sleep.
That's why. And do you know what's crazy? That crossed my mind because my poor daughter, she's so wonderful, but she's been having horrible nightmares and like really creepy things. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of this.
You need a cleansing and maybe an exorcism. Because like,
myself out.
Afraid of everything.
Like, bruh, I deal with ghosts like every day, and most of them are just like, hey, I want you to notice me, and then they mind their business. Or they're like, hey, I have a message, and then they mind your business. Or they're like, hey, look at me.
They don't give small children nightmares.
Yeah, mine don't really give me nightmares except for Jenny, but I've already taken care of Jenny.
Don't tell us about her. Who want to know?
Don't name them. Oh, by the way, did you see that all of the New Orleans shit? Have you seen? You haven't seen the news on that?
Headlines and stuff for like
the Annabelle shit. People are blaming all this bad shit on the evil doll, Annabelle.
Stop.
In New Orleans? Yeah, it's literally on the news. Where they're like, oh, the Annabelle doll like set fire to this place and it went up in flames, or like the Annabelle doll was like fucking haunting somebody. It was literally like on the news. My aunt showed it to me the other day. Hold on. I didn't want to pay attention because bad juju, but now that it's coming up, Annabelle, New Orleans. I think it was New Orleans. Yes. 5 days ago, is the haunted doll Annabelle to blame for a plantation fire?
I mean, they did say she went missing.
Yeah, it's missing. It went missing 5 days ago, and then the plantation went up in flames.
No,
Same
no.
day.
Hucky is going on.
Yep. The infamous Annabelle doll, which has been linked to several fires in New Orleans this month, has apparently disappeared out of nowhere. Some say the doll is missing. This comes days after a fire broke out at the historic Nottoway Plantation, now a resort. I don't want to go there. In Louisiana, while no injuries were reported, social media users fueled rumors and conspiracy theories that the fire was linked to the Annabelle doll being displayed in Louisiana during its paranormal tour. They had the tour there.
That's you don't take cursed items around and showcase them like that. They will
officials confirm there's no connection, I bet. Okay, officials.
I call bull.
The Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut is now hosting a tour of the notorious Raggedy Ann doll, which is social media users say is possessed. Locals reported they were not able to see the doll and it was missing. So all the haunted dolls are missing. Great. Lovely.
It's the year. Something's happening this year.
People are freaking out that the Annabelle doll is missing.
Yeah.
There's a fucking picture of it.
Don't show us that.
There's so many articles and shit.
Yes.
Y'all better leave Annabelle the fuck alone. Annabelle on tour in New Orleans 2 weeks ago.
She's gonna get a big head about it.
Would you go and see the display? No, the fuck I wouldn't. And then look, she pieced the fuck out and set you guys on fire.
No, thank you. I want to
Literally 2 weeks ago, they took it on a tour in New Orleans.
That was a dumb idea.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
They took it from Connecticut and brought it to New Orleans for the paranormal tour.
We may want to stop talking because I think that was an orb. Yeah.
And then, of course, the tour company was like, it's not our fault.
I don't know if that is the light, but there was seriously like an orb right next to your elbow.
Mine? Hers? Hers. Hers.
No! Tell me
good.
Shit.
Way.
Anywho, ACOTAR.
Yeah, ACOTAR.